In this month's episode,
we discover Japan and hit the festivals in Forza Horizon 6.
I explore a galaxy of joy in Astro Bot.
And I survive the heatwave, return to the old country and start my life in one of the original Mafia crime families.
All that and more on this month's Aches and Games. Hi folks, and welcome to July's Aches and Games, a relaxed monthly check-in between two slightly older British friends talking life, gaming and whatever else comes to mind. Join us for the full show, or you can use the timestamps in the description to jump to the content you're here for. And speaking of the reasons you're here, let us know your thoughts, comments via the socials or our Facebook page or by emailing achesandgamespod@gmail.com. I'm Giles Nicholson, Giles at West Online. Joining me, as always, is my good friend James Hopes. How's it going, James?
Yeah, a little bit better this week, isn't it? It's horrific last week with the boiling temperatures in the UK. Absolute madness. But now it's a bit more pleasant. But I think the boiling temperatures are meant to be coming back in a couple of weeks. So let's just enjoy the moment while we can still breathe and think and articulate our thoughts and views on the world. But yeah, nice to be here as always. Good evening to you and to everyone listening. And what a lovely month, kind of, it's been, apart from the heat.
Yeah, I think it's kind of you to say we can articulate our thoughts. So, listeners, you'll be the judge of that over the next hour to hour and a half. But yeah, it's much more bearable, isn't it? And I've invested in a rather sizable new fan. The perils of buying stuff on the internet. It's either it always comes it's tiny or it's massive, and I don't know. You can check the dimensions, but I never seem to quite get it right. So I've got a huge fan off to the side, which is off but not packed away for exactly the reason you talk about. It's inevitably the revenge is next week.
We also got a big new fan for the bedroom. It's one of those ones where you can have it erect or on its side. So you can put it at the end of the bed, flop it sideways, and it literally just pokes over the top and blows cooler air at you. Not cold air, obviously, it's never cold, but cooler air into your face, causing all kinds of respiratory failure. But nice at the time, so that was good.
I'm very glad you said face, James. Any housekeeping or shout-outs before we get started?
No, again, I've been speaking to a few people at work about gaming. Everyone always talks about gaming these days. It's really odd.
Yeah.
I always assume that we're the only two people of our respective ages that are still playing games, but other people seem to do, weirdly enough. So obviously it's a cool thing for people in their 40s and older to do. So I always direct them in the way of our podcast. So if you have joined, because some people did write it down when I mentioned it, obviously they shredded it straight afterwards or put it in the confidential waste. But if you did come, then thank you very much for coming. If you didn't come, then yeah, screw you. You're missing out. But you won't be hearing me saying it because you're not listening. So yeah. Anyway, only other shout was TikTok. Had a bit of interaction on TikTok about our review of Mixtape. I mentioned we were reviewing it, and then someone, for a name that's very hard to pronounce, very tough. I've written it down. It's like,
I'm looking forward to this.
What would you say? It's like Fair is the first name, so that's nice and easy. But Soils,
Yeah.
Who knows? Anyway,
just for the record, listeners, this isn't like trying to pronounce the Irish actress's name. It's not Saoirse, not Saoirse.
No.
Soilsy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Saoirse would be easy, blimey. I know a load of Saoirses.
Do you?
Yeah, I've got Saoirses in every room. And yeah, they mentioned the fact that Mixtape was good. It's not the kind of thing, but they were taken by the musical backdrop. Not necessarily the soundtrack itself, but the in-game music, which was created by a band called Devo, which I looked into afterwards, and they said they had a newfound love for Devo and the songs that they make, which featured heavily in the show. So there we go. So that's a bit of interaction on TikTok. Always nice to reach out to us. We'll always mention you. There's loads that I probably forgot to mention, but this one I didn't forget to mention. So there we go. Thank you for commenting and contributing to our world.
Indeed. Yeah, we always like to get the comments in. Thank you. We're not dancing though, so we draw the line at that point, I think. That's a very outdated view of TikTok from someone who doesn't use it, probably. I just assume it's everyone doing shuffle dances and that's about it.
No, 95% of it is women in bikinis doing odd things. The other 5% is like people talking about games and real life. So you should try and skip through the detritus and move on to the middle-aged men talking about games.
Nice. Any crossover? Any women in bikinis talking about games? There's an opportunity. right there.
Next month.
Well, I haven't been scrolling TikTok, and I haven't actually played that much this month. So, fair warning, my gaming section of this podcast is going to be quite short. Various reasons, lots of football, which I guess still makes it qualify for Aches of Games, just different kinds. That's good. I'm sure we'll be talking about that, and also just the elephant in the room for any gaming podcast, of which I guess we are sort of at least tangentially related to gaming, is that at the moment it just feels like there is a lot of bad stuff hanging around. So not many announced cuts and closures, but as at the time of recording, which is just about June, we're recording on Tuesday night, so it's July tomorrow morning, or it will be July by the time you hear this. And particularly Microsoft's financial year finishes at the end of June, which is rumoured to... it was described as a bloodbath in terms of layoffs and studio closures. So quite hard to get excited about some of the gaming stuff that we're going to be talking about, but it doesn't get in the way of what we're actually playing, which is quite nice. And I've certainly had a very joyful month, so looking forward to sharing that with everyone.
I was going to say, given the length of our episodes, normally it could be July by the time we finish recording, but let's hope not, because it's only 7:30 at the moment, so if it is, and bad times.
That's true. I took a bold decision in the summer, recording at 7:30, that I wouldn't put a light on. So if you're watching this on video and it's dark by the end of the episode, we've gone way too long. We've gone way too long. That's why.
You never know. Here, I've got one of those cool circular lights, like the celebrities have. Yeah. Ring light.
Yeah, I thought you were just naturally radiant, James.
Glowing,
but,
just naturally sweating. Yeah.
No,
it's so good. So whatever the rain is, whatever the weather is outside, I always look identical on camera. So perfect.
Very nice. What have you been up to?
Interestingly, on the subject of lights, I've invested in some thingies that go around my TV, like the backlight type things.
Yeah, you might have to expand on thingies. Okay, right.
Yeah. It's a Govee version. It's a Govee something free light something. You basically get a strip of colourful lights that you are meant to be very self-adhesive to the rear of your TV, but ours weren't particularly self-adhesive, so I spent a lot of time squeezing them to try and make them stay up, which I did in the end. And it has a camera on the front, and it looks at what colours are on the screen and projects them around your TV screen to give a sense of immersion, and it reduces eye strain apparently as well. Because I generally play games in the dark on our big TV at night, so now I will have less eye strain. So that was my light into light segue. I can't remember what the first light was, but it's good. This is gaming related, so there we go. So we've got that one. I set up today. That's what I spent half of today doing. Not easy to set up at all, but it was in the Amazon Prime sale. So we've got that now, and it looks quite cool. So tonight at midnight, I'll be experimenting to see what our backlight looks like. You love tech, James. You've always had tech. You must have some of these.
No, I've kind of looked at them every now and again, but I'm not sure they work in our living room setup, unfortunately. So a little bit interested to hear after you've settled in with them what you think about them. So no, they look pretty cool.
Yeah, Josh really likes them so far, which is the first hit. And like I said, they were very, very cheap in the sale, so cheaper than they would have been normally. Nice. Anyway,
I feel like you might have 2 hours in the sweepstake, James, because you're stringing it out. Let's crack on. What have we been up to this month?
Not a lot. That's what I'm trying to fill the time. So it's been too hot to do most things. In the hot weather, I built a wall in the brick wall in the front garden. So that was. I always try and do something ridiculously inappropriate during especially hot weather. So I built a gazebo or a pergola last time. Nearly killed myself, and this time I nearly killed myself building a brick wall. So yeah, just a heat stroke flopping around the front garden like a murdered salmon. But the wall is taller than it was before now, so it looks nicer. So that was my bit. And then Joshua did some stuff. Joshua went dragon boating with scouts, which is good fun. So we watched that one as he dragoned away and dragoned back. And he went go-karting for a friend's birthday party. And I've never been go-karting since I was about 13. So it's my first attempt at being at a go-karting place, even though I didn't take part myself since then. And it's changed a lot. It's e-karting these days, so they're all electrically charged go-karts. So there's no petrol, there's no smell of gasoline everywhere, there's no fear of everything blowing up around you. It's quite pleasant. He enjoyed it, he did really well and had a nice time. So that was it, really. I've done nothing else. I mopped up a flood at work in the hot weather, 40 degrees, and it flooded at work because we had that massive overnight storm. Whipped a mop out, had a great time doing that one. And then, as you know, we met up, which you're probably going to talk about, which didn't go particularly to plan, but it was still fun.
Also needed some mopping up. It was a stormy day then, wasn't it? It was well, particularly windy. I think it wasn't particularly wet, but we had intended to sort of sit around in a park listening to some cover bands and stuff who were playing, and yeah, with the forecast looking pretty horrendous, we had to pivot a little bit, just like Queen Ross and Friends. But yeah, no, it was really fun. I was glad you mentioned it, James. I thought you were going to just skip over it, but it obviously didn't leave much of a mark. We went to a nice tapas restaurant, didn't we? And had a brush with fame, which was very exciting.
We had a few brushes with fame, to be fair, didn't we?
Oh, who was the other brush?
Well, we were next to the green room for all the bands, weren't we? All the cover bands were in there.
Oh yeah,
so there's a bloke who looked a bit like Chris Martin, a bloke who looked a bit like Ed Sheeran, and someone who I don't know who they looked like, so it could have been anyone. So yeah.
So someone who, if you squinted, maybe we thought that might be the Dua Lipa tribute, but actually, I think it was just some woman who was in there.
Yeah. But weirdly, the one that looked a lot like Chris Martin, Coldplay tribute weren't even playing, were they? So
that was very strange.
Yeah.
They were just here just in case. He had a green room.
We also saw a giant dog. Had a giant dog in there as well, like bigger than all of us put together.
Yeah.
If all of us got on each other's shoulders, the dog still would have been taller. Crazy sized dog.
We should have tried that. We should have checked.
Next time. Yeah. But again, the brush of fame Giles referring to is Ailey Williams, who was a Reading defender in the 90s, sat behind us at the bar in the tapas place. Quite a small tapas place, but it's quite tightly packed in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, like tapas eating sardines in the corner. Yeah. Intimate. And he sat there on his own for some reason, had a drink, and walked out after about half an hour, having been sitting on his own. It's the life of a TV personality, I guess. You go and review or interview some people, and then you just sit there until something else happens, and then you go home.
Yeah, exactly. I think he was. I don't know if he was covering the festival and decided to stay away. But if there's no sport going on, we should just apologise if you're listening, Adi, for that weird group who was sort of next to you, looking over, going, "Is that guy looks a bit like A.D. Williams. Let's take a picture of his sunglasses." That was very strange. It was a long afternoon and evening, so by that point there was a very strange conversation going. But no, it was
good food.
Great fun.
Very nice food.
Great food, good company. What more do you want?
Yeah. Also at the heat, I've been getting into my rowing machine, so I can't remember if I mentioned last month, but I invested in a rowing machine. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I thought you looked different, James. I thought you looked slimmer.
You can't even see my six-pack, which I've got on the floor next to me waiting for the interval.
I can see it in my mind's eye.
Oh, I wish you wouldn't. Every now and again we get reward and recognitions at work for being amazing, because I'm also amazing at work, as you can imagine. So I spent some of that money on a rowing machine and these lights go around the TV and a fan. So that was my three things I bought with my reward and recognition voucher. And the rowing machine I've been on pretty much every other day. I've even been drinking electrolyte drinks, like some kind of fitness guru. So you put some powder in a bottle and whiz it around and drink it and you feel amazing. And yeah, so I've turned the corner now. I'm getting gradually younger and fitter as time progresses. So by the time our next episode comes up, I shall look even younger, no doubt.
Fantastic. We could sort of Benjamin Button it by binging the various podcasts, or you could watch it backwards in a sort of weird Inception way.
We might have to rename it though, because I might not even age by next month. The age might be all gone.
Yeah, you're going to have to step aside for some other old guy.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that sounds. I don't really understand the doing physical labour in the hot weather, because we really did very little when it got hot. Unfortunately, we did also have that week. We were dog sitting for my sister Anne. She was on holiday, so we had a dog in the house as well who really did not want to go out. Obviously, couldn't go out during the heat of the day. So between some very sleepless nights in part, because the dog makes things hotter, and also some very early starts to take him out for a walk before it got too hot. We were completely sleep deprived last week and did barely anything apart from watching lots of World Cup and complaining about how hot it was, really, and watering the garden whenever it got to the stage where you possibly could, fighting against the inevitable death of some flowers that we've actually kept alive for a while. So That's a bit disappointing. What we did do before that, though, was we went to Paris for a sort of long weekend, kind of short week, long weekend, somewhere in the middle. And we were very lucky because it was scorching hot the week before we were there, and obviously after. When we were there, to be honest, it felt pretty hot, but it was temperature-wise wasn't too bad. And we both went. We both went, obviously. We went to Versailles as part of the trip, which was the first time either of us had been there, which was quite exciting. Have you been, James?
No. Always wanted to, but not. No.
Very pleasant. The gardens are really impressive, although sort of French style, so very manicured, like very ordered. So if you like that sort of thing, great. If you like a more wild garden, it's probably a little bit fussy. But it's a huge place. The sort of formal gardens are part of it. There's also a park. And then there's this whole extra other area called Trianon, the estate of Trianon, which is where Marie Antoinette was. And Versailles itself, the palace we went in, it was very hot. But, you know, if you like big grand rooms and lots of old paintings, great. Not the most interesting thing for either of us, but Trianon, which is this little country estate that they bought. It was a village and they bought it. A previous ruler had bought it so that they could effectively live a sort of semi-normal life, including inevitably some sort of illicit meetups with people they shouldn't be meeting up with. But then Marie Antoinette lived there and really liked it, apparently. And it's almost like this preserved little medieval village. It's gorgeous. So if you do get the chance and you go, well worth a long walk to get over there, or a kind of silly but quite convenient land train. So highly recommend that.
Cool. One for the future again. There's so many things to do in the future, Giles.
I know. When are we going to fit it in?
I've done very little last week. The other thing we did last month was finish The Last of Us on the TV. That was good. I commented last time that obviously Joel had just been out for his golfing trip when I last saw it. But then 4 episodes since then were also quite good, I thought. Quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Didn't mind the ending. Didn't mind any of it. Quite enjoyed the whole thing, really. Obviously, big setup now of what's going to come next. How many more scenes they're going to use to pack it all in. Yeah, good fun.
Yeah, I don't think there's been any sort of news on the third season series, but it's definitely coming. They keep announcing like who's in it and stuff, but I don't know if they've started filming or anything yet. But you enjoy it? Okay, I didn't love towards the end of it, so that's interesting. I'm glad you liked it.
Enjoyed the whole thing, and then obviously watching some World Cup, but I've only been watching the England games. Obviously a lot of them are at a dumb time. Had to watch a few at work in the background, because I seem to be working for every England game so far. But yeah, Wednesday night, we've now got, Josh was meant to be doing a street dance performance at school at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night, and obviously football's on from 5 till probably just after 7, so it might fall apart a bit. We shall see. But anyway, England doing fine so far. Would have worn an England shirt, but by the time this goes out, we might be out of the competition anyway, so I thought better not.
Yeah, that's not a jinx it. That's a shame you've only got to see the England games. I wasn't super excited about the World Cup in the States. I was talking to Craig about it, and just the idea of, you know, everyone being completely fleeced by FIFA and paying 100 quid to get a train 10 minutes out of New York and stuff like that. Trump inevitably trying to kind of glory hound it whenever someone's getting a medal at the end. None of it appealed to me. But just watching some of the like littler teams and some of the random mix matchups that happen has been really good fun. I was in the pub with Craig and the Fat Dads, actually, your football team, for the Paraguay game, and we were saying, they were like, there was one of those conversations that only happens at the World Cup, which is something along the lines of, you know, did you see Iran versus Egypt? What a game! And you just kind of think, that's the joy of the World Cup, and seeing all the like the Scottish fans sort of marching in Boston and stuff really does. Yeah, briefly. Shame about the football, but it does. That definitely lifted my spirits in what is quite a tough time with the heat, with the world and everything else that's been going on. So yeah,
I got South Africa in the work sweepstakes, so I didn't think they'd get very far. They've done all right.
Yeah.
On the whole, they did better than I expected them to do.
Until they got knocked out.
It's fun.
Okay. Will you be watching then if England go out? Will you sort of adopt a team, or will you call it a day at that point?
National football has never excited me much. I don't watch any of the England
Hmm.
friendlies. I can't stick any of them because it's always
No.
horrific. I generally watch a World Cup. If it's on during the day, I would have been watching every game. But my mum's been watching all the games in the evening. But yeah, Josh was not into it. Sarah's not really into it. I
Oh.
tend to be at work every day, all day. Apart from doing podcasts or going to see street dance performances. So yeah, okay. I should quiz them, man. As it gets to knockout stages, it'll be a bit more interesting. So I'll probably watch a lot more when we get to the round of 16 and above. But round of 32 doesn't feel that exciting either. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
The knockoff stages do sound good. I'd highly recommend France games. France are looking really, really tasty. Well, glad you're enjoying The Last of Us. And what we've been watching is apart from the World Cup, is we caught up on Band of Brothers.
Yeah, wow.
Hannah's never watched it, so we're watching it through. She's having slight trouble. She sometimes struggles to pick out an American accent on TV. They're definitely particularly mumbly in Band of Brothers. I don't know if it's because it's an older show, and maybe the sound's not mixed very well for sort of a modern soundbar. But with all the war obviously going on around, have you seen Band of Brothers? Do you know it, James?
Long time ago, but not entire series of it. I've seen bits, but not.
Oh, it's incredible. And listeners, if you haven't watched it, really good. I think it's 10-part, based on the airborne, one of the airborne divisions, American soldiers during World War II. And it's Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg executive produced it. I mentioned that we'd watched a good few episodes ago, Masters of the Air, which is Air Force, and then there's the Pacific as well, which is more, I think it's more sort of general army based, but it's obviously based in the Pacific in the conflict. So really enjoying that. Well, enjoying is not the right word. It's horrific, obviously, but reminded how good that is, and getting into that. And then in a totally different direction, we're watching Clarkson's Farm, which he is not my favourite person, but he certainly is really interesting to see how tough farming is. And I think, sort of silly stunts aside, you really do get a sense of what's involved and how difficult it is to make money at the moment as a British farmer. And I quite fancy having a go at being a farmer, so maybe we should think about that in gaming terms one way or another, maybe as we progress through the episode.
What a great idea, Giles. Brilliant.
Yeah, it just came to me. Yeah. Right, should we talk games?
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it. We are here. We're still cool, at least in temperature. And in which case, should we start with our Love It or Leave It game, which was Forza Horizon 6. James, do you want to describe the game for us briefly?
Yeah, so the long-running series of Forza games, and you have a car. You start off as a person, and you drive around lots. It's not a proper racing game because there's no proper physics. You can crash into stuff and knock trees down quite easily, for example, and collide into other cars and just bounce off them rather than having any proper damage. So it's not an accurate simulation of the racing business, and it's more of an adventure game rather than racing. In part, so you get a big map. In this particular version, that's set in Japan. Forza Horizon 6, 5 was set in other places, and 4 was set in the UK, which is nice. 5 is in Mexico, not somewhere.
Other places, Mexico.
So 6 is this one in Japan. So the opening sequence got lots of blossom in it, as you'd expect with Japanese stuff. So you get the feel for it. You arrive in the country, meet up with a friend called May and another friend called Jordan. You've come over for an adventure to stay there, and for some reason she gets you involved in the Tokyo racing scene, gets you involved in some Horizon racing, gives you some free cars to take part in them. Good friend. I need friends like that. And basically, it's a wristbanded tour through the Horizon racing scene. So you start off with basic races. You have to qualify for the big finale in each series, and then you get another coloured wristband and you move up to the next batch. Then each batch has load more races to help qualify, and you eventually go forward to the big event at the end to get your next coloured wristband. So that's it. But it's a massive map, and you do loads of other stuff as well. So you can get bonuses, and you can take part in day trips and days out and stuff, and you can collect cars and find hidden treasure cars, and you can take over a place to have as your base to put some cars in. It's very car based, and yeah, just good fun. So it's a big car thing, but not a particular accurate racing game.
Yeah, arcadey as opposed to simulation, listeners. And I heard it described, I think Ryan from the Xbox podcast on IGN describes it as a driving game rather than a racing game, which I think is a really good distinction, because there are lots of races, but in between, like you said, actually it's just sort of fun to just drive around, isn't it? You sort of explore the map and do stupid things. And discovered Japan as well. There's a whole, in addition to the festival, this game, as opposed to the previous ones, there's almost a sort of second series of challenges, which is about exploring the country, which is also quite good fun. I don't know if you've done any of those, James.
Only a little bit so far. I tried to do a bit more today. I've played about 6 hours so far. I've mainly focused on qualifying for the next bit, but then I did a few of the story bits today, which was nice. And I bought my own property today, which was fun, and went on some adventures. It was nice. And the nice thing about the game is it gives you a comparison with your nearest rival in your friend group. So it always tells me that I've discovered X number of roads compared to Giles discovering Y number of roads and number of areas and number of mascots destroyed. There's little Japanese mascots in different parts of the city that you can ride over to collect bonuses and little bonus boards. You can collect points, which you can then help buy vehicles. You can tune your vehicles as well. You can do all sorts of things. You can buy vehicles at the side of the road from second-hand places. You can go, there's a lot to it. You can play it for days and days and days, couldn't you? If you just wanted to have some good fun. And we said last month that Joshua played it for a long time before we started playing it. It's game of the month, so he's well ahead and he's still enjoying it as well, which is good. It's his favourite one in the Horizon series so far, and probably mine too.
There we go. Interesting. Yeah, when you said that you could see your sort of nearest rival stats, every now and again Joshua comes up on my list. So I think you and I were sort of quite close on a number of them, but then in terms of roads driven and areas discovered, it's giving me Joshua's gamer tag, who I deciphered. I was like, who is that? I don't recognise that gamer tag at all, and I won't share it on the podcast. But I worked it out in the end. I was like, I don't think that's one of mine, but it looks like James, so strange. So that was exciting. Yeah, I love driving games generally. I really enjoyed the Forza Horizon series. Love Japan as well. I never enjoyed drifting in the Horizon games, though. I like a racer. And also, Forza Horizon 5, I think we talked about it, didn't quite hit as much maybe as done before for both of us. So this sounds like it's maybe got you back on track. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, there's nothing bad about it. For what the game is, it's pretty perfect, really, isn't it? If you're a proper racing game fan, you probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. Like I said, in the races, you can just drive through stuff. Within the actual races themselves, you have to go through checkpoints, so at least it makes it a little bit more realistic because you have to steer and get into places. On the less realistic side, if you go wrong, you can just press Y and it rewinds to the next bit, and then you can keep rewinding until you haven't made a massive cock up to ruin the entire race. So if you do bad, you can just rewind and play it again to help improve yourself. So it's definitely not a proper racing game by any stretch. And like I said, when you go in between different races, you can choose a destination. There's a little like an AI type car buddy now that guides you to different races, so you can ask her for a recommendation of where to go next. You can put the car on autopilot if you want to go out and have a wee and drive automatically to your next race location, which is quite fun. And obviously, being that my name's James and she's got quite a posh British voice, she says, "Oh, welcome, James," and it sounds like James Bond, so it makes me feel special. Whereas when Josh was playing, she says, "Welcome, Titan." And I'm like, okay.
Oh,
So it's obviously called Titan as his race name rather than his actual name. Anyway, and unrealistically, like I said, you can just plough through barriers and knock down trees. In the previous versions, there was some trees that are too big to knock down, but there's no too big trees in this one, so you can just plough through the landscape and you get points for ploughing and jumping and falling and spinning and all sorts of bizarre stuff. So it's just a lot of fun, just fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I have encountered and I read something about it. It's quite interesting. Like, for cultural reasons, there are a few things that don't smash. So shrines and
True.
what they call Torii gates and things like that don't break, because that would obviously be sort of inappropriate to encourage that. And I don't know if you noticed in Tokyo, so a big you start off, or where I've started off and tended to focus at the start, was sort of in and around Tokyo. And the Tokyo streets, every now and again, they will have a crowd of people sort of behind a barrier.
Yeah.
Which that barrier obviously is not destructible for
No.
obvious reasons. This is not that game. This is not Carmageddon. But that was quite nice because I think in the previous games, everywhere has felt a little bit kind of empty.
Yeah.
Still not, as busy as Shibuya Crossing or something in Tokyo, but it's nice to sort of see people watching. I want people to witness my amazing lap times.
And Joshua says the crowd say 3, 2, 1 in Japanese rather than in English, which he liked as a feature. There we go.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I thought you say it's not a racing game, but certainly when you get into some of the races, they can be pretty. They can be pretty pure. I think an early one was called Sakibe Scramble. I think just reminded me of Sega Rally. It's a dirt track in a forest area. Really enjoyed that. I had there's a really good on Discover Japan. I think it's the first thing. It's called Raku Raku, which is like food delivery. Have you done that one?
I don't think so.
It's very cool. It's kind of like Crazy Taxi, where you have to rush to the next spot to pick up or deliver some food. So that's quite
definitely
fun.
not that.
And that's in a weird, little, very high, narrow delivery van, so that slides around corners and stuff. And just zooming around, I got a Lamborghini. I think because of playing one of the previous games, it was awarded to me, so it's a really nice car early on. And just hooning around in that, smashing stuff, is ridiculously good fun.
Whereas I couldn't get that car. Joshua got the car because it's on my old account where I played Forza 4 and 5, but it's not on my account, so I didn't get a car. But I did get one. I did get one today, from then something not been available over the weekend. That's a nice car. It's good. It's just good fun, isn't it? Just good bounce. You can have head-on collisions with people. You can't run people over, but you can head-on collide with people, and they just carry on afterwards, and you carry on afterwards, and no damage is done. So yeah, a little bit unrealistic, but great fun. Very much recommend. Probably an 8.5. I would say 8.5 these days. Maybe 8.75.
Yeah, it's. Will you keep playing then, Jose? It sounds like you could go and go.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely keep playing. I'll certainly go through the festival series to get the top wristbands and collect cards, do fun stuff. But yeah, it's just something you can play in it for half an hour. Even though it's not massively engrossing, so you can just play half an hour, do a couple of races, and sail away again. So all good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's always been kind of a chill game for me, the Forza series. You can just play it for a bit, quite relaxing as long as you're not taking the race too seriously, and just kind of go and do something stupid for a few minutes. 9 for me so far. I think the only real downside is the formula's getting quite familiar at number 6. Really, I think Japan is a great setting. It looks fantastic. But I'd be interested to see them do it differently. There was a game called Project Gotham Racing before Forza, which was more sort of street race based, and the street races in Horizon 6 are really good, and it sort of made me crave that slightly more pure racing game. I'd like to see what the team could do with something slightly different, but I imagine there'll be a Forza Horizon 7 because it's selling and doing ridiculous numbers.
Yeah. As long as you can pick different countries that have different scenery, then it works fine, doesn't it? And it's free on Game Pass day one, which is always nice at the moment.
For now. Yeah, exactly. Well, what a great choice. Enjoying that this month. But you've been playing, by the looks of this notes section, you've been playing a heck of a lot. So do you want to take us through a couple of games you've been playing this month?
Yeah, it's weird. I mentioned before with the Steam stuff, some stuff's quite cheap, so you can bounce in. Some of the games I've been playing on Steam for a few quid are horrific. So I bounced straight off and I didn't even talk about them. They don't even deserve to be mentioned. Also, one game on the PlayStation Plus, Rugby 25. I thought the reviews are awful, but I'll give it a quick go. And I lasted about 7 minutes, and it's the worst game I've ever played involving sport. Horrific. Used to love rugby at school, but this game's absolute arse. So there you go. Never play Rugby 25 or any other iterations. But back to some good stuff. I'll quickly mention this one because we played it before, and it's that game a month, 2 months ago. Love it or leave it. 2 months ago, 3 months ago. It's Planet of Lana 2. And I said at the time it was a really good game, but I hadn't quite finished it at the time. So I invested some time this month in completing it. And yeah, just to recap, you're a small girl called Lana, and you have a small child sister who gets ill/injured. and you have a little cat type thing called Mew, and he's a kind of a robot kind of cat thing who's like thousands of years old, I think. There's no voices in the game; they're all just gibberish type voices, so it doesn't relate to any particular language, sort of a spacey language. And it's a platformer with some puzzles in it, and it's very cutesy and it's good fun. And I completed it and quite enjoyed it, but hated the ending personally. I mentioned it earlier. The ending seemed a bit non-conducive to my enjoyment.
Yeah, by earlier, that was before we were recording, wasn't it? But yeah, I think I remember. I mean, I loved the first one, really enjoyed this one. But I remember when we were scoring it in the Love It or Leave It episode, I think I was slightly lower on it than you, and it was because of the ending, to be honest. So it's such a shame, and I'm not sure it particularly sets up a third one. I'm not sure it needs to set up a third one, but a really good game overall. But yeah, it's such a shame, isn't it, when a game just doesn't, you don't like it the way it finishes. It leaves a bit of a sour taste.
I think in any game where there's no voices and no discernible language, it's not always going to make massive sense what they're trying to portray at the end. But this one didn't make any sense at all. And I sat there going, what on earth is this? Didn't get it at all. Bizarre. But the game is really solid. As good a type of game of that sort as you can get. Just the ending was a bit naff. Didn't really make me happy to finish it. Just felt a bit let down. A bit cheated. So that was a game that I went back to, which was nice. And I mentioned one other game that I went back to and finished. That was Mixtape. So Mixtape was our Love It or Leave It game for 2 months ago. What did we do last month? Oh, we just did Forza. We just talked about it, blimey. So, yeah. So the Love It or Leave It game for 2 months ago and 3 months ago, I've now completed. So Mixtape, it turned out when I discussed it on the last episode, thinking I had a few chapters to go, I only had 4 minutes to go. So me and Sarah sat down, got all our snacks together, got the drinks, sat on the sofa, played 4 minutes, it finished. I was like, okay. Perhaps I could have finished that a bit earlier than that. But with Mixtape, the ending made some sense. It's all about a group of 3 kids who are meant to be finishing school and go off on an adventure, and then one of them decided to go off and have a career and do something she wanted to do. And there's a story of those 3 kids, and it ended quite nicely, reasonably emotional ending, and that turned out fine. Lots of fireworks, lots of good music, lots of fun stuff, not much gameplay to it, but enjoyable, 7.5-ish, pleasant.
Yeah.
Glad I finished it, but yeah, not going to set the world on fire.
In contrast, it probably ended. I think it started and ended at its best, Mixtape. So, yeah, those last few sequences I really enjoyed as well. So, nice stuff. There was another one you finished, wasn't it? Parisian Brasserie Simulator.
Yeah, I kind of finished it. It's one of those games where you never really finish it. You just play for life if you want to until you die. But I did all I wanted to do. I expanded into the terrace. I expanded into upstairs. It was all fully automated. I had lots of staff doing all the things for me, and I could just sit and watch it if I wanted to. But in the end, I was like, okay, I've done all I wanted to do now, so I can move on. But as a game involving cafes and restaurants, which is what I was quite into at the time, yeah, it's probably as good as it gets. Again, you can play as big a role as you want to. You can serve all the stuff. You can make the drinks. You can take all the orders. You can do whatever you want to, or you can just sit back and let everyone else do it. So it was a nice game. Enjoyed it. Did 25 hours of it. So, yeah. For an early access game, I thought it was very good. So, very much recommended if you like Paris, brasseries, cafes, and simulation games.
I was with you right up to the end. Yeah. I feel like we might have spent 25 hours in Parisian Bistros this month. So, yeah, maybe similar. But you're really ticking them off this month. So, impressive stuff.
3 completions already, and there's more to come after your next segment, Giles.
Gosh. Well, yeah, the only game I finished was also relatively close to the end by the end of last episode, which was actually a Love It or List It game for last month. Mixtape we just happened to both play, I think. This was replaced.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a sort of side-scrolling, cyberpunky type game from a Ukrainian developer. We talked about it last month. Go check out that episode. But yeah, I was probably about an hour from the end by the time we recorded, and I thought this one ended really well. You were talking last month about the story not making much sense. I think it really came together at the end. It was. Still, it's a bit sci-fi, a bit nonsensical. Not nonsensical, but you have to go with it. But it's sort of a story about AI and sort of corporations taking over and all that good stuff. That sort of gritty retro future. But I thought it came together really well at the end. I'm really delighted that I dropped it to easy for the last few hours. I think without that, it would have felt a bit grindy. No, I'd recommend that, James. Do you think you'll go back to it at all?
Yes. Now that I've finished Planet of Lana and mixtape, then yes. I'm into a finishing phase of my life now. I like to finish things. Like Sheldon in Big Bang Theory.
Excellent. I do not understand that reference. I only ever saw it with the sound off in the gym on a Sunday morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Was
I
it
loved
good?
it. Yeah, I watched every episode of it. But he was very much he couldn't get the enjoyment out of it until it was finished. So doing the thing he didn't enjoy, he enjoyed the finishing and getting the endorphin hit at the end. So yeah, that's what that would replace so far.
It makes a lot of sense. Well, yeah, I got that hit. I give it a 9. I really enjoyed it. So that was my first game for this month. What else have you been playing, James?
I promised over the last few months I was going to whip out my PlayStation 5 Pro and play one of my Christmas games, and I did both of those things. So yay me. So I played Mafia the Old Country, which is very sexy game. Very enjoyable. It's based on the olden days whereby Italian families did some crime and like protection rackets and the like. So with the original Mafia games, they were generally set in the States, weren't they? With Italian people moving into the States and then doing the protection rackets and stuff. Whereas this one is set in the Old Country, hence why it's called Mafia the Old Country. So it's actually in Italy, and there's lots of Italian accents in English. So that was nice to hear. The story starts with you, who is called Enzo. Nice Italian name, Enzo. You're working for a mafia family in some mines, and you and your friend are saving up to escape the mines, and you eventually are about to escape. This is very early on, so I'm not spoiling anything at all. You eventually escape, and then the mines collapse, your friend dies, and you're left on your own, get beaten around, manage to escape, and you hide out in a barn, which happens to be owned by the boss of another mafia family, who seems to be a bit nicer. So you're sort of taken on by that mafia family because the two mafia families hate each other, and lots of japes and bants ensue over the next few years of entering your life as a newbie from a mining career into a mafia family. And you work your way up through it all and meet the love of your life and get into the family, and lots of things happen. Being its old days, it's lots of knife fighting. So all the boss battles involve knife fights. So the two of you stand there with a little knife and you poking at each other and slashing and trying to duck and dive. So that was weird. Never had a big knife fight boss battle before. So every boss battle with all the mafia dons are knife fights. But you do get guns. So like most of those types of games, there's quite a bit of stealth involved. So you creep around and make sure your stealth bar from the other baddie doesn't see you, and you hide behind things and throw stuff to throw them off the scent. So some really good battles. I quite like the storyline personally. I found it quite engaging. It wasn't massively new and untouched territory. You basically fall in love with the daughter of a mafia boss and you work your way up and kill loads of people. So it's probably been done before in films. But it's quite nicely done. You felt a bit for the characters as you went through it all. Voice acting was fine, apart from the slightly Hamish Italian accents. It's a really nice part of adventure. So you can spend a lot of time riding a horse, which I enjoyed, and a lot of time riding old vehicles through countryside, which I also enjoyed. You can skip bits if you get bored, so when you're going out on a horse ride to get from one location to another, you can fast skip it to get there. But a lot of the time, you can just ride around on a horse and have a nice time. Just you and the horse on the open roads. And that's quite pleasant. You can sort of feel it bouncing up and down between your legs and feel the neighing and the clip clopping, and you get to where you need to go eventually. The graphics are lovely. It really feels like you're in the Italian old country. There's lots of vines and grapes and all that kind of jazz knocking about, and mountains in the background. And not giving too much away, the mountains play a big factor in the game at some stage. So a big story about a whole family, big development, great graphics, good voice acting. I like the storyline. It wasn't too long. It was probably about, 10, 15 hours in the end. So I played it within the space of a few days in the evening. And I really enjoyed it. It reminded me a little bit of like Plague Tale, Requiem and that kind of stuff, with the stealthy bits and the lots of people knocking around. Less rats, or fewer rats, should I say, in my English grammar excellence. But yeah, it felt similar in that lots of battles, lots of action, good storyline, well done, great game. Glad I played it.
Cool. What would you give it if you had to rate it out of 10 for a podcast?
Oh, if I have to, jeez. It's
If
definitely
someone
high.
held a knife in your direction.
It's definitely higher than an 8.
Okay.
Definitely lower than a 10.
Hmm.
But lower than a 9.5.
Oh,
Could be an 8.5, could be a 9.
okay. Another
I
8.75.
did really enjoy it, though. And you can borrow it because it's a real life game.
Oh, that is very exciting.
Yeah.
Because I do want to play that. So, yeah, I'll take you up on that. It's an actual disc, like in the olden days.
Real life disc, yeah. Mafia the Old
Nice.
Country on an old disc from the olden
I'll
days.
definitely take that. Well, we might be able to do a swap, although I think you've got the next game that I was going to talk about. But this is also on a disc, and it was part of really what became an accidental theme for this month from Place Decide, which is very gritty. So we talked about how Forza was just really good fun, and it was like quite arcadey. You could just pick up and play. The other game I spent most time with this month is Astro Bot, which, like you, James, was a game that I got for Christmas. So we're also on the PlayStation. Also something I've talked about playing for a long time. So we didn't plan it, but there is a connection. Anyone who's had a PS5 will have got the demo where you can kind of try out the annoyingly gimmicky DualSense controller with Astrobot. Other opinions are available. And if you have been listening to the podcast for a very long time, you'll know that I played and loved Astrobot Rescue Mission, which was the VR game on the original PSVR. So this is a 3D platformer featuring Astrobot. It's a real love letter to PlayStation. It's actually like broader. It's gaming in general, really, but things that have been on a PlayStation. So, you think of things like Resident Evil and other third-party games, Final Fantasy, stuff like that. Or Persona definitely is on there. So, other franchises are featured. It starts off, you are flying in a spaceship, which is a PS5 shaped spaceship, and things go wrong and bits fly off, and you just need to collect them and put it back together, essentially. There's not much of a story, as you would expect there's not going to be, but throughout it you're going through these levels, also collecting other bots that have been kind of left around hidden. If you've ever played a 3D platformer, whether it's Mario or something, where you're collecting stars, this is a way that you can complete a level, but actually then you can go back and do more stuff, more challenging stuff to get the collectibles. In this case, it's just other little bots. It is just sheer joy. I mean, that's the main thing. It's so fun. When you load it up, there's a really catchy tune on the sort of loading screen. The worlds are these super bright, very sort of tactile, really amazing textures in some of the, there's like beach balls that really look like a beach ball. I don't know, the artists are wizards because they've done a great job, and very cute characters. So it's just fun. It's light. Some of the special levels are a bit more challenging. But yeah, you get to the end of the level. You need to, if you've collected a certain number of bots, then when you get to the next level, you'll be able to play it. So that's the only problem, that some of the levels further on are gated. You need to have collected a certain number of bots, which means you have to go back and replay levels. So that's the only downside from my point of view, because that kind of annoys me a little bit. I'd like to blast through these things, but it is fun finding the sort of hidden bots and using different skills to get there. Talking of different skills, you need to go through some footsteps on your audio, James. It's throwing me a little bit, but nothing we can do about that. Sorry, listeners, it probably isn't coming through, so you probably think I'm crazy. But as well as the standard gameplay, which is fun, you can kind of punch and sort of fly over things and kill them with your oh god, what are they called, like booster rockets that you use to sort of fly. But then throughout the game, you sort of pick up these extra pickups again, like in a Mario game where you might have had the mushroom to get bigger, or you might have had the raccoon hat tail thing to fly. Very much like that. So there's a collection of things. You have a sort of elephant backpack thing that spurts out water and allows you to go higher. There's one level, a couple of levels actually, where your backpack can make you get bigger or smaller, and that's sort of factored into the gameplay, which is really good. And yeah, just it's just great fun. A bit easy, maybe a bit grindy to get through to the next levels. Some of the best gaming music I played, I listened to the soundtrack. There's a really funkiest tree you'll ever see. If you ever get to that level, you'll know which one I mean. If you played it, let us know in the comments. I'm sure you will remember. But it's just sheer joy. It's a 9. I'm about probably 2/3 of the way through it, but I can be pretty sure it's not going to outstay its welcome because I'm loving every minute.
Yeah, that might be the next thing I play, actually.
Have you got it, James?
Yeah. Joshua's got half. Joshua played half already. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I can't do that.
No, I think we got that in real life as well. I think.
Yeah.
So I need to get back onto that one. But yeah, Joshua loved it, and I love the original one. So it's going to be good. Awesome. Haven't finished anything else, but I have played quite a few other things. I'll just whistle through some of them. Obviously, EA FC 26, what used to be FIFA in the olden days. I play every iteration when it becomes free on whichever console it becomes free on first. So at the moment it's on PlayStation, so I'm playing that on PlayStation. I always do the player career mode. You pick a person, you customise them, and then you just play in that one position. So I always play as number 10 for Reading and played exactly the same thing every time. And the game is so similar to every previous iteration of the game, you could just be playing the same game. But it's only once a year, and you only play it for like a few weeks at a time, and then get bored and wait for the next 11 months to play it all over again. There's not many discernible differences this time at all. Even the commentary is pretty much identical. It's just the same game, but with a different number. So yeah, still as fun as it always is. It's still a good quality game. I'm still enjoying it. I'll still get promoted in 2 seasons and then get bored and give up. So I'm about a third of the way through that process of playing too much and giving it up. But good game. Always recommended. It's always an 8 out of 10 for FIFA. It's FC 26. So perfectly pleasant with that one. A few other little bits. I tried VR. I promised a few months ago that I was going to play Ghost Town VR because you had played Ghost Town VR and said it was actually quite good, quite interactive, quite made nice technology. And currently, the PlayStation's in a smaller room. It's where we do the podcast recording against a mountainous backdrop behind me. So if you look to the left of the PlayStation and the TV, there's not much space between the TV and the wall on that side of me. So therefore, you can only really play VR games in sitting down mode. So I set up for sitting down mode. And it meant I didn't feel sick and horrific when I played it. So perfect. And this game, effectively, you start off with your brother, don't you? You're looking for ghosts and trying to give them some closure on their life so they can go off into the next life happily.
Yeah.
But then your brother has some kind of issue and disappears. So you kind of go off on your own, exploring, looking for more ghosts and trying to find clues about your brother's whereabouts or disappearance or something along that lines. So I played probably about an hour and a half, so not a massive way into it, but the first kind of big level is a lighthouse, and you meet a woman outside the lighthouse, you have a little chat, and she says, oh, the light's gone on the lighthouse, and you have to go up the lighthouse and put the light back on. But there's loads of puzzles on the way up. And it's really well done interactively, I thought. It really feels like you're in there. You can look around properly and interact with stuff. You can lift handles and open doors and move switches and twist knobs and work out where everything's going on, and you hear noises and see people running towards you in a ghostly format, and can do lots of stuff, and it felt really nice. So that's probably, out of all the VR games I've played, this is probably the one that I will actually enjoy for a few hours and actually do, rather than previous ones where you enjoy it for like 20 minutes and then either throw up or get bored. So it's really good. So good recommendation so far. I will talk about it again next month once I've played a bit more. I jumped off it because of the heat wave, because you don't want a massive bucket on your head during 40-degree heat. So I gave up on it for a while, so I need to try and squeeze a bit in before the next Earth-ending heat wave comes next week. So that was another game I played. You had one more, Giles, didn't you?
I've got one more.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. And that was, it's funny you said about VR though, because I've got a list of things that are on the Quest subscription that I'm not intending to renew in a few months that I really want to try out, but yeah, just couldn't face it. There was no way. I mean, I'm wearing headphones for this podcast. It's not very hot and I'm already quite warm, so I can't imagine what it would be like with the headset strapped to me. Yeah, my other one I mentioned last month, it was added as the classic to PS Plus. It's Guitar Man. Guitar Man even. And I have such good memories of this game. Loved it. It is a bonkers rhythm action game from 2002, so PlayStation 2 era. Again, I really can't remember if it was you, James, or if it was John Braid, maybe. Although I'm not sure if the timing works there. But we used to play this a lot, and there's only 10 songs in it, so I know them well, and each time I'm getting to a new one, it's bringing back these incredible memories. Gameplay is a series of these musical battles where you you have to put the joystick in the direction of the line and follow it, and it's quite a wibbly line, so that's quite hard. Maybe a bit like one of those, balance things where you have to follow the metal line around without setting off the alarm. And button presses as well. So, fairly standard rhythm type game. There's 3 phases in each battle. There's a charge, a battle itself, and then a guard aspect. So you're either attacking or defending in the battle in the guard, or you're charging yourself up in the first place. If you don't get that bit right, you don't have enough energy, and it's a bit of a nightmare. Great first impression. It starts off with for people of our age anyway, a sort of real 90s feel, although it's 2002, I guess. A 90s feel kind of TV show intro with a really catchy song. You meet the cast of, yourself and your friends, and it's got that kind of slightly hammy, translated from Japanese, over-the-top expressions. You are a character called U1. And you arrive home, get called a loser by a talking dog who's called Puma, but he tells you there's a solution and gives you a tennis racket, and makes you practice with the tennis racket before he gives you the Guitaru, which is really just a guitar, but it's inherited down, it has special powers. And good timing, because then a demon shows up, quite a cute demon to be fair, in your house, and challenges you to your first battle, which is a kind of Guns N' Roses style classic rock battle, which is great fun. And then over the course of, as far as I've got anyway, over the course of the rest of the game, the great thing about it is each song is a banger, but in a completely different genre. So a guy dressed up, funky guy playing the trumpet, he's dressed as a bee. He's called Mojo King Bee, obviously. So that's kind of funk. You've got a drum and bass level, which is like this space shark chasing you, a robot to some sort of techno with some Japanese pop in the background. There's a reggae, there's a lullaby,
Nice.
there's a samba with some skeletons. It's really good fun, and like I said, just bringing me back to those days. And another game where you can just pick up and have a 3 or 4 minute blast as you play through one song. Story's really funny. Again, reminds very easy for it to come back. Downside of it, I would point out, as someone who plays their PlayStation on a monitor with Bluetooth headphones, that does not work with a rhythm action game, because the ever so slight delay you get over Bluetooth completely throws you. So I've wired myself in, and that's much better. The other downside is that bloody Space Shark drum and bass level. I remember being a nightmare. It is a nightmare. It's so hard. But I did just crack it last night and got straight to some of the levels I've been really looking forward to. So great fun. Objectively, it's probably a 7. It's just kind of silly and very lightweight. But the nostalgia and the quirkiness aspect of it is I'm loving it. It's going to be another 9 from me.
Hey.
And I'm sure I will play it to the end. And no doubt I will go back, particularly playing the little lullaby for a space version of Your Girlfriend, which I won't try and explain on this podcast, but it's already in my head because I'm talking about it, so the music's good. I'd highly recommend giving it a go, James, if you've not played.
What's on again? PlayStation?
It's on PlayStation Plus, if you've got the top level, because it's a classic. But yeah, otherwise I think you can probably buy it on PlayStation, but it's from PS2 era, so it's manage your expectations and expect some very, very Japanese nonsense.
Lovely. Another 9 for Giles. Every review's been a 9.
I know, it's been a good one.
Madness.
It's been a good one.
Right, I'll whip through the last few that I've been playing this month. Like I said, a few of them are on Steam, a few of them are not on Steam. I tried Jurassic World Evolution 3, which Joshua really enjoyed earlier in the year. Only played for about half an hour, but it looks good so far, so I shall come back to that one over the course of the month. A game called The People of Sea, Sun and Salt is a weird one on Steam. Again, very well reviewed. It's a little building game, but only in a certain number of blocks. So your island is surrounded by water, and if you achieve the objective, then you get given more land, so the water subsides a bit. But if you do badly and the people are unhappy, then the water comes back up again, so all the stuff you built will then get flooded and disappear again. So each level you have to achieve certain challenges and certain number of buildings, certain number of people doing a certain number of things. Very simple building game, so it's just blocks of buildings on different spots. But it's kind of a puzzle game, because you have to fit them in the area you've got and make them all link together somehow. And then you move on to the next level. And then the next level could be on the same size grid, but then you've got to have done lots more things, so you then need to demolish loads of your buildings to get upgraded buildings so you can do more stuff. So good fun, very simple. Not a proper building game, but a nice puzzle building game. And I'm 3.5 hours in, and great fun so far. It's a nice one you can pick up and play for half an hour at a time. And then another one that I've been playing a lot recently is called Mad Television Tycoon. So there's a company called Eggcode, and Eggcode made Mad Games Tycoon 2, which I loved a few years ago, which is a game about making games in a software company. Whereas this one is meant to be a bit like used to be a Mad TV game years ago, or program, and this is meant to be sort of an updated version of it, which has got some similarities and some differences. So effectively, you're in a tower format with like 4 rooms on each level, and you're competing against 2 other television companies. And you're the person who you go to a room and you get adverts to put on your channel based on the number of viewers and the number of different shows, and then you can work out a schedule for each day and allocate adverts next to it, because the advertising revenue pays for the TV station. And then you have to go and buy movies to put on, and you have to buy series and TV shows to put on, and then you can expand and buy extra transmitters and broadcast towers, so you can expand your reach, so you can then get more expensive advertisers with you, and then you can move on and eventually produce your own shows. So it's still in early access, still early on. It's a really good fun game. I've played it for a good few hours at night. It's the kind of thing you can do a couple of days worth of action, because you can either do it in real time or you can do it at like 4 times speed, so you sort of race through it. And you can see the viewing figures for each hour, and you're trying to beat the other 2 companies and make as much money as possible. So again, really, really good fun, that one. I love Eggcode games, and this is another belter, if you like that kind of thing. And I think one more in there. We tried a game called Killer Frequency with Sarah one night.
Never heard of it. What's this?
It sounded like it's going to be good fun, and it's sort of good for TV. It's just weird. So the premise is you're a radio talk show host. You've got the boot from your big job in Seattle or Boston or some American big place, and you've moved to a local radio station that only has like 2,000 listeners as opposed to your 2 million you had in your previous job for whatever reason under mysterious circumstances. So in your first few nights, you take over the radio station, and then a serial killer starts terrorising your little village that was in existence about 20 years ago, but everyone thought had gone and died, but now it's back. And it's a kind of little hick US town or village where there's only like 2 police people, and the serial killer has killed one and taken the other one hostage. And that's how the game sort of begins. You're doing a radio show, and then the 911 operator for your little village rings up saying, I'm going to have to go to the other town and try and find another police person to tackle this person, so I'm going to put all the emergency calls through to your radio station for the next 6 hours while I go to the other town. And then you take all the calls and you try and guide them safely to avoid being killed by the serial killer. So like there's one where a woman's got in a broken down car and can't get it started, and you have to go around your radio station trying to find books and clues on how to hotwire a car, and then you explain to her over the phone how you hotwire a car so she can escape, and then you tell them what to do and what to say, and they get away. And the aim is to try to limit the number of people murdered by the serial killer throughout your radio show over the next few days.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it's a nice premise. It's just a bit weird, just a bit slow paced. Not much action to it, but you kind of get invested when you start saving people. But then what really annoyed me and Sarah is we'd done really well to save this person at this place, and then I accidentally pressed the wrong button and it made some noise, which meant the serial killer crept out and killed the person. And then after like 45 minutes of desperately trying to save this person, I then just pressed the wrong button at the wrong time. It was knackered. So at the end we said we're never playing that again. Stupid game. So so you might enjoy it. It's a strange premise, but I was kind of getting into it, but then ruined it for myself. And I'm not sure if you can go back on the last pre-save. So when I'm less annoyed at myself, I'll go back and have a look to see if I can revive my interest. And that's it. Loads of other games that none of them are good enough to mention. Awful games on them. But yes, some really classics. So I'm glad I experimented this month and tried some good fast.
Excellent. It sounds like a much slower paced version of the Until Dawn and that sort of game, where I managed to not save a lot of people despite my best efforts. I'd imagine on this one I'd also probably not be very good at keeping people alive.
Yeah, but it's weird. You get like a call saying, "Oh, I'm being murdered," and then you put on another record and you go to the toilet and have a wander around. A strange game.
Excellent.
Anyway,
excellent.
You might enjoy it. Who knows?
Sounds fun. What's that on?
It's on Steam.
Yes, another bargain.
I've probably lost all the places as well, but that's where I picked up on Steam. It was really highly rated in the 90s. So it was meant to be an unusual game. So yeah, all good fun. Anyway, that's all the games we've played this month, but we are thinking, as you alluded to earlier, of playing another game for the month ahead.
Indeed. Perfect segue. I'll love it or leave it game for July. We had a little chat about this just before coming on, and we settled on Farming Simulator 25. Xbox Game Pass. Surprisingly, Farming Simulator is a farming simulator video game series, according to Wikipedia. Who'd have thought? Locations based on America, European and Asian environments. And you can farm, breed livestock, grow crops, sell assets, and generally do farming stuff. It's what you would expect. But it sounds like a bit of a change of pace. You like a good simulator, don't you, James? This may or may not be one of those. And it's kind of fun. Perfect for the summer months, and I can live out my Clarkson's Farm fantasies of being a miserable old bugger saying contentious things.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like simulation games and you like Jeremy Clarkson, so it's a perfect choice.
There we go. So I'm still alive.
I don't think I've ever played it before. I don't think. I've been tempted before. I've played a game like Construction Simulator, which is quite similar, I think, but I've never played the farming one. So it might be interesting. It said it takes about 500 hours to beat, but we're not going to spend 500 hours, so we shall see. We might manage 2.5 if it's that bad, but loads of people love it, so we'll give it a go.
It is surprisingly well reviewed when I looked at it, and also surprisingly it sells quite a lot. So I know things like Train Driver Simulator and Bus Driver Simulator and things like that do sell, particularly in Germany, weirdly. They love their sims. But notably, if anyone's listening thinking, oh, I've played Farm Simulator 2023, I'm not sure if I'm ready to play another one. Well, the new features in this game apparently are new crops, including rice, spinach, peas and green beans. So if that doesn't get you sold on an upgrade. New animals, this genuinely does excite me. Goats, water buffalo and baby animals. Well, goats anyway. Sounds fun. There's 400 machines, over 150 agricultural brands, and weather effects, including tornadoes and hail. So maybe we've undersold this one. But love it or leave it. We will play at least a few hours, give it a go, and who knows? This may be the start of a beautiful farming relationship.
I think I might really get into it. I've got a sneaky suspicion that might be it for me for the next 400 hours.
I think so, yeah. I think I've already got an impression of next episode. Good stuff. Yeah. Well, that'll be a nice change of pace, like we said, and perfect for the summer. I'm sure there's some beautiful sunny mornings or evenings to farm in, and probably some horrendous storms and things as well.
But just to point out, I've only got 12% left of my battery, so we're gonna scoot through the news section and other bits. And then see how we get on. Yeah, we'll get there.
Let's do that. Well, we've had too much fun, so we need to talk about some misery. In terms of the news this month, there is a lot of misery, unfortunately. I mentioned earlier on that there are lots of bad news either been announced with some layoffs at Bungie and at EA, or really, as we record, this big sort of thing hanging over particularly Xbox studios, but really more generally is just lots of signs in the industry that bad times are coming. They've increased the prices of the consoles again in the last few days. No doubt they will have to increase them more because of AI stealing all the graphics cards, I think, isn't it? So that's kind of annoying, and particularly annoying, tragic because of the layoffs, and these are people's jobs, so, no flippancy, is that a word? Here. But in terms of games and things that I was looking forward to, there's talk of Ninja Theory closing. he made Hellblade. Compulsion, he made South of Midnight. Double Fine, he made Psychonauts, before you say about Keeper and Kelm. And just today, there's a rumour that Arcane might be closing, and the Blade game that has been announced and being developed might be cancelled. They did Dishonored, and lots of other good games. So, James, sort of pretty depressing news. I don't know if there's much you or I can add, but any thoughts on these horrible rumours? At least it must be pretty rubbish to also hear about them and then have to wait a few weeks until Microsoft's financial results are out.
Yeah, it's been the same the last year and a half, really, hasn't it? We've mentioned it a few times, but different companies disappearing, different games being cancelled and all that kind of stuff, so it's nothing new, unfortunately, and just a sign of the modern world, isn't it, really? Lots of bad stuff going on, and lots of people trying to squeeze themselves into what's left of the gaming job market. Some people are doing really well, aren't they? Some companies are still fine, but others just seem to be being ripped to shreds, don't they?
Yeah, they definitely seem to be. Nintendo always does well. I think Japanese sort of corporate culture is probably a little bit less brutal than over here and in the States. But Sony, Santa Monica and Naughty Dog, and Naughty Dog hasn't released a new game in a very long time, and you don't hear of huge cuts there, so hopefully we won't do. But it certainly takes the shine off the next topic as well, which was going to be talking, it feels like a lifetime ago, of the showcases that we didn't get to last month. So Sony State of Play had happened just before recording, Xbox Showcase, Summer Games Fest, and a Nintendo Direct had all happened just after. Any thoughts on that or what's been going on these last few months?
Yeah, again, a lot of it is a long way away, which I always don't get that excited about talking about. Like you mentioned, the new Senua game would have been nice, but it might not exist. That's a shame. Lots of other games might not exist by the time they come to coming out, so it's hard to know what to talk about, really. The Plague Tale game, obviously, I mentioned earlier about loving rats and adventures of sneaking around rats. So that one is coming soon, but it's obviously going to be different characters and I think less ratty, isn't it? It's going to be set in a different kind of era and place. Yeah. So, but again, if it's similar quality to the last games, that'd be good. If it makes it, that's not due until next year.
No, it's coming in August.
Oh, this August. Oh, I thought when you said August 27, you meant 2027.
Yeah, no, August 27th. I should have put a TH.
Yeah,
so that's good news.
Yeah, so no, looking forward to that one now. That one should definitely happen by the sound of it. So that's good. Fable, we've been looking forward to for a long time, haven't we? The Fable game, but that seems to be a little way off again.
Yeah, it is February. It's now dated February next year. So
yeah.
Assuming, again, it actually comes out.
Yeah. And then there's a see-through Xbox, isn't there? That looks like... to celebrate 25-year anniversary of Xbox, are making it a green see-through Xbox Series X to match the original
Very
Xbox.
Bad timing. Yeah, it looks cool, but also, one of the things I like about the Series X is just how kind of grown up it looks in comparison to certainly PS5, which I have under a desk somewhere so that I don't get too laughed at. And getting a sort of translucent green one might not work. Also, God knows how much it's going to cost, because I think the standard one now is like 700 and something quid. It's ridiculous. So anyway, not very tempting. I think Resonance, it's called, A Plague Tale Legacy. That one of the things I noticed about that and about Senua, which was probably one of my most anticipated games of the Xbox Showcase, only to then learn that it might never be released. They announced it. They announced that it's going to be released next year. That was the high on the roller coaster. That was very exciting because that was much sooner than I think anyone thought. They announced that it had more of a combat focus, which also... the Resonance of Plague Tale Legacy seems to have more of a combat focus. And I thought, that's exactly what you need from the next Senua game. I really enjoyed the first two, but I understand why people would have reservations. This would seemingly get over those reservations, and then having announced it Senua a month ago, it does sound like it might never come to pass. Plague Tale Legacy, to me looks like one to watch, and the previews that they've made have made it look really, really appealing as well. I just had Gears of War looks fantastic. Gears E-Day, that's October. Looking forward to that. Really enjoy the series, and Halo Combat Campaign Evolved, it's called, remake of the original campaign, launches next month, so looking forward to that. But yeah, in terms of longer out, Clockwork Revolution I thought looked good, but that's next year. Who knows about that one? It's just taken the shine off completely for me. I've got just focus on the games, I guess. Enjoy what you've got. There's a huge backlog waiting for all of us, I'm sure. I think it's going to be a really rough. I don't think it's just Xbox, but Xbox I think are going to get hit the worst. I think it's going to be a really rough couple of years. We're going to see a lot of scaling back, but there are far too many games to play each month. So from a player point of view, I'm sure we'll still have stuff to talk about.
But I think we're like a lot of people, aren't we? You either get gifts of games for Christmas or birthdays, or get the releases when they come on our subscription services. So it's hard to know where you are with the Xbox subscription service as well, because obviously it used to be very good for day one games, but then they cut the price and promised you probably wouldn't get as much as you used to get out of it, including Call of Duty. So what you end up getting, who knows? It's not really come to pass yet, has it? So I'm not quite sure when it's going to pan out. So whether any of these games that have been discussed will ever make it to our Xboxes or PlayStations is in the next few years, only time will tell.
Who knows, indeed. Right, speaking of things that are going to make it, just quickly, PS Plus Essentials haven't been announced as at the time of recording. Games on Extra and Premium have been announced, and Game Pass is still a bit quiet this month. I mentioned Halo's coming. Anything, that took your interest, James, from the upcoming games on any of the subscriptions?
Nothing horrifically. Obviously, the Sonic games are always fun. Sonic games are always fun. Joshua used to love the Sonic games. I haven't played one for a while, so we'll probably give that one a poke. Kingdom Come Deliverance. Obviously, I've got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for Christmas, so this one I'll be just playing it in the disc version, so no need to worry about that one. One game we didn't mention last month is called Junkster, which looked quite fun when I looked into it a bit earlier. So Junkster is a day one release game on Xbox, and it's kind of a 3D platform, but involves some building as well. You're a little robot, which looked quite cute and quite fun and a bit different than a normal platformer, so I should definitely be giving that one a go. Even if it's not a subscription, it's quite cheap regardless, so it's quite cheap on Steam, where the reviews are 90-odd% from the 41 people that reviewed it. It seems to be going under the radar generally, but I should certainly give it a go and report back next month on Junkster.
Please do. And yeah, the Sonic game is Sonic X Shadow Generations. So Sonic Generations I played and really enjoyed, so I'd recommend it. And this has got some extra levels playing as Shadow the Hedgehog. So that's on PS Plus.
I think Moss is coming out as well.
Is it?
The combination of the original two Moss games under a new name are coming out in a non-VR format for people who don't want to vomit when they're playing it. So
yeah.
I know you're a big fan of Moss.
They were on my Game of the Year last year, weren't they? So combined. I'm intrigued what it's like without VR, but lovely little game. Really, really interesting world as well. So
it sounded like it's going to be a new game, so it had a whole new name, but then when I actually looked at the previews you just mentioned, it's a collection of the two games. Okay. Not quite so excited.
Yeah. I'm pleased for the developers because I hope they get some money from that, because I think they released a slightly weird multiplayer game and didn't do very well, and they were in a bit of trouble as a result. So I think this is
probably
a
why
very obvious attempt to try and sell some more copies. But fair play to them, because it's a cracking game. If it translates to flat screen, I would highly recommend it. Good stuff. Well, hopefully we're going to get to the end without you dropping off, James. That is the show. Please remember to like and subscribe to the podcast. Please give us a 5-star review if you're that way inclined. Come over, chat with us, interact with us on our social platforms. We're at Aches and Games, or email achesandgamespod@gmail.com. I'm Giles Nicholson. You know the tag. How about you, James?
Yeah, come back next month to see how I got on with Astro Bot, and I might try Silent Earth, depending on what mood I'm in. But if it goes back to the heatwave, we might be playing nothing at all. We might just be sitting in a darkened room trying to avoid death by heat and sweat. But there we go. So yeah, pop by the Facebook page, pop by TikTok, communicate with us. If you have a name that's hard to pronounce, please tell me how to pronounce it so I can mention it in the next episode. And obviously pop along to the website for all the reviews, news and upcoming stuff, including copies of all the videos. And Giles will post a video copy of this on YouTube on Friday morning. So if you want to see our faces moving and voices coming out of them, please do. If not, just go to your normal podcast provider Unless it's Amazon Music, because our podcast doesn't seem to work on Amazon Music still, which is annoying me. No end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Better look into that. That is annoying.
So please keep bugging Giles about that one, so I can listen to it on correct format at some stage. But that's it for me, so thanks for joining again.
Take care, everyone. See you next month. First Friday of the month. More Extra Games.
Bye-bye.
Bye.